guess what? I made it. I finally have a sponsor. Well, I mean, technically, it's not a paying sponsor. It's more like a promo for my friend's brand new company. But hey, it doesn't matter. Let's get ready to crush your health and wellness goals by going to fitdadnutrition.com. There is a macro calculator and a meal builder that will help you reach your highest potential and become the best version of yourself. As you know, once you're a dad and you get out of shape and you just don't feel like going to the gym, everything's low. Your sex drive is low. Your interest in things and hobbies is just out the door. Well, there are several programs that are set and designed for the everyday gym goer as well as a person who has little to no equipment. So yes, you can work at home with this program as well. So for the first 50 people to sign up, you will only have to pay $14.99 a month. Now, this won't last very long, so go to fitdadnutrition.com and get started today. Again, it will be the very first 50 people, so if you're lucky, go on there, fitdadnutrition.com. All right, y'all, let's get into this JT interview. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to my channel. I am Mark. You're watching Trading with a Dummy, and today's guest is somewhat infamous. Yes, I say that because you either love him or you hate him. He's made a career off of calling scammers out. He's essentially the black version of CoffeeZilla. That's what some people say. And like I said, you would either love him or you hate him. I love him. I think what he's doing is a good deed. He's calling people out on their BS, regardless if they're black or white. But some people see it the other way. They see him as a brother bringing down another brother. But we're going to have that conversation. We're going to get to know who JT is from Pocket Watching with JT. So ladies and gentlemen, give a round of applause for JT. What's up, man? How you doing?
Mark, listen, it's an honor to be on your platform. You know how much I respect your content. So let's do it. I'm excited.
Appreciate it, man. I appreciate it. You brought me on your show. Once I dropped my my so-called review, I'm not going to name the person anymore, but I did a review, and you brought me on your show, and I think it went pretty well. So it was definitely a great experience. Mm-hmm. But you know, on my show, we're going to get to know who you are as an individual, and then we're going to get into the whole business of pocket watching and how that came into play. So first of all, JT, tell me a little bit about yourself, man. Where are you from?
All right, so I am a Midwest kid. I'm from St. Louis, Missouri, right? St. Louis, Missouri. I grew up in the era where St. Louis really got on the map in pop culture. I'm telling you, before, the mid 2000s, early 1990s-ish, if I went somewhere and I said I'm from the Lou, people would assume I'm talking about Louisiana, right? But I was fortunate enough to be in my early teens when Nelly popped up on the scene, when Mark McGwire was hitting 70 home runs, when the St. Louis Rams won the Super Bowl. So I was able to be a St. Louis kid when people actually knew where the hell St. Louis was. So that's a huge thing. And I'm also a person that benefits from the fact that I am the son of business owners. My mother and my father, small business owners. And the whole way that my journey in finance started, the way I became a financial advisor, it starts with them. When I was 9 years old, they made me a bookkeeper within the family business. And that role just expanded as I got older and ended up going to college, studying accounting, studying marketing, studying financial planning, and became a financial advisor. That's the easiest way to explain how did I get from where I started to where I am right now.
Yo, you filled that all in. I didn't have to get anything out of you. You just go ahead. You put it in there already. So no, that's dope. Wait, my only question is, are you an only child?
No, man, please. No, not at all. I'm middle. I'm middle child. Every one of the kids, my siblings, we all played a role in the family business growing up. Because that's just, how it is. You got a small business, your kids are going to play a role. And the reason why I was singled out to be the numbers guy, the reason why I was singled out to be the one that was the bookkeeper is not because I was the smartest. It's not because I was special. It was literally because I was the littlest one at the time. And my family's in the business of scrap metal recycling. It is a very intensive, heavy machinery type of business. So being 9 years old, I couldn't be out in the yard with my older siblings. It was too dangerous. So they put me in the position of a bookkeeper. And then after my father trained me, he didn't see any reason why he would have to train someone else. So I just kind of stayed in that role. But yeah, I got siblings for sure.
So growing up though, it sounds like your family was pretty in tune when it came to finances and stuff, and they kept you guys in the loop on everything, right? And teaching you guys financial literacy and all that growing up.
Yeah, I mean, it was in the way of, this is the work that needs to be done, though. It wasn't like clear like lessons. It's just that in scrap metal recycling, just for people to understand, what you're basically doing, you're buying scrap metal. It's something as small as a soda can, or something as big as a truck, right? You're buying scrap metal from the public, you're weighing it, and you pay them based on what it weighs. Well, me being the bookkeeper, it was my job to pay people out. And if I would mess up, that means I probably overpaid somebody. And if I was overpaying somebody, that money came out of me, right? So my father taught me little tricks to do math in my head fast. My father taught me about, being responsible with money, because certain times I would have to do things with the money throughout the day, right? Because he would have to go on a run, and I would have to manage the money in a way where it lasted long enough for him to come back from the bank and give it. So those type of things, it wasn't as much as sitting down getting lessons. It was literally being in the business, and you're going to learn. I mean, it was all the way to the point where, I don't know what elementary schools people went to, but in my elementary school, if you got the highest math scores, you got an award, like you were an athlete. They called it a mathlete. Let me show you how big of a geek I am. I was the math elite at my school, because when I did my math test, I didn't see it as just abstract numbers. I saw it as money, and I had to get those, math problems right. So I was the math elite of my middle school, because the way my father taught me how to use math and make math practical.
Yeah, no, I remember those days, man. Mathletes, and it's like the spelling bee and everything. I don't know if they still do that or not. I don't think they do. My oldest son, he's really into like science and math, and I don't think he won any of those Mathletes awards.
They need to do it, man.
They probably took it away. You know how society is these days. It's like, participation trophy. So you can't have a loser. Everyone has to be a winner. So that's probably why they don't have that anymore. So that's pretty interesting. Now, when growing up, though, did you aspire to get into the accounting business, or were you interested in more in sports? Like, where did you aspire to be?
It's so weird. So honestly, I saw my father as my role model. My father has always been like the number one role model in my life, as far as being a businessman and, the way that you take care of your family and stuff like that. Then when I got to like middle school era, of course, everybody wants to be popular.
Yeah,
you do what you need to do to be popular. And there was two things that I saw. So that was the bad boy era, So I think we're kind of close in age. So
yeah, we are. Biggie Smalls, Tupac, Bad Boy. I remember. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So and there was a point where Diddy was everywhere.
Yes.
It was the bad boy era, and he made being a businessman mogul really cool. Also, Dame Dash. I got to give a shout out to Dame Dash, because Dame Dash was someone that I looked at and wanted to kind of emulate, being a businessman in pop culture. So I knew I was going to be in some sort of financial management. From my experience of being a bookkeeper since I was 9, and then seeing how you could be a businessman, you could be an accountant, but also be cool through Dame Dash and Diddy. And then in high school also, I did participate in sports. I was captain of a football team. I was captain of the wrestling team. All of these things played a part, but I knew at some point I was going to be in the business world somehow, some way, because throughout that whole time, I'm still working for my father, either on weekends or in the summer. And my father is the type of person that knows how to make you feel important, right? He knows how to make you feel important. He knows how to give you a role and allow you to grow in that role, and you don't feel left out. And he continued to groom me in the position of being an advisor to him, somewhat similar to like a mix between Michael Corleone and a mix between, a Tom in The Godfather. Like he always kept me beside him doing business deals or when he was talking to people for me to observe. And then he would ask me questions after the person left about what did I think about, the proposition that person gave him and stuff like that. So I always knew I was going to be in something financial, and I also always knew I was going to be helping my father. So those things were throughout my whole life. But I saw myself, there was possibilities of being a business manager for athletes and entertainers. Also flirted with the idea of being a sports agent. And then ultimately I graduated in 2006 from undergrad. 2006 isn't that far from the Great Recession.
Yeah.
So basically graduated into a horrible economy. And then my backbone, I can always work for my father. And I kind of grew into that position of being his personal financial advisor from anything on the business side, anything personal. I was there to review documents, represent them at certain meetings, at banks and stuff like that. And that gave me a lot of experience and training that I needed through the recession. And then when the economy started to kind of open up, then my personal practice grew from just my family's account to other accounts.
It sounds like you stayed out of trouble pretty much because your parents had you busy with either the books or working for them.
Oh yeah,
So,
I mean, they kept me busy in a way where it's not really that much. If I wasn't in sports, or if I wasn't doing something with school or working with them, there wasn't really much time to do. Now, I got into some silliness. I ain't trying to be I got into some silliness, but I was never arrested as a child, stuff like that. But yeah, you gotta stay. And this is also a bad trait of myself, though. I'm constantly doing something.
Yeah,
I don't give myself the time to relax and enjoy the achievement that I just got. Second, I do something, I'm like, bet. I put it on the shelf and be like, all right, I got to do something else. And that started since I was 9 years old. I've always got to do something. And my wife, my friends, it's like, hey, relax, just
it's funny you mentioned that because it's funny you mentioned that because it makes sense now because I mean you and I spoke and you were like, yeah man, I'm gonna be free after tax season and we could shoot whenever. It was like a day after tax season. Yo, when you want to shoot? I'm like, you don't want to chill for a little bit? I mean, hey, like you're like, I'm free now. Like, when do you want to shoot?
Right.
So I was like, yeah, all right. Cause literally, I was gonna wait about a month. I was like, let him relax. He's probably super busy and stuff. But you like, nope. Let's get to it. But now, I mean, I feel you on that grind. I'm kind of the same way. Like I have a 9 to 5, but before last week, I was teleworking majority of the time. But now I get to only telework once a week. We'll see how that works out. But my wife saw me one day, just like she was at the house and she saw me working. And by the end of the night, around 9 p.m., I felt like I didn't accomplish anything, but I was always busy, right? So I was asking her, I was like, do you feel like I'm just wasting time? She's like, I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't ever see you taking a break. She's like, if you're not trading or learning about stocks or doing your job or doing real estate photography or doing YouTube videos or editing or cleaning, it's just like you're always doing something, helping people. You're always doing something. So she's like, no, I don't think you wasted your day. But I always feel like I can't just sit and chill. It's very rare. That's why I like going to the movies because that's the only time I ever get to really disconnect. Yeah, you can't have your phone out. You just sit there and you can just sit and watch a movie. That's like the only thing. And even by gym time, sitting there checking the stocks. I'm texting people, Lyft, text. So it's crazy. I totally get that grind. And now growing up, did you feel like was a plan for you to take over the family business eventually? Like stay in the family? Was that always the plan? Do you think your dad was grooming you to be the head of the family at that point where he's like, I'm done with this business, I'm ready to retire. Here you go, JT. It's yours.
It's a mixture. So I go back to The Godfather, right? There's a lot. My father has mostly sons. He's got a few daughters, but he has mostly sons. And my father's like 6'4", right? My father's like 6'4". All of my brothers are 6 foot plus. I'm a good 5'8.5". Right?
We're gonna talk about that. We're gonna talk about that.
I'm a good 5'8.5". And honestly, from my position, I always saw one of my older brothers taking over the operations of the business because that's, they were more into working heavy machinery and doing stuff. I was more of the financial side and the business side. So I don't think he was really grooming me to take over, because there's a power dynamic, right? It's kind of hard for an older brother to take on the instructions of the younger brother, right? So what he did was he just split up the workforce. He split up the responsibilities, because himself, my father, he can do it all. He can do the numbers, he can jump in the machines, he can jump in the trucks. But he kind of split up between, one person was really, really good at working with the machines. One other brother was really, really good at the trucks, and I'm good at the finance part. So we all kind of play a part. When you put us together, we equal him.
Equal,
right?
yeah.
No one of us could actually take over all the things that he does. But I feel as if my father was grooming me for something beyond just the business itself, because I also represent my father and his advisor on the personal side. And that's something that, my other siblings, don't do, because obviously they're more focused on the operations of the business, if that makes sense.
Got you.
Yeah.
So once you graduated college,
Mm-hmm.
and got your degree in business accounting?
Yeah, well, I got
business?
a degree in accounting, and I have a degree in marketing. And then I
Okay.
went on to get my post-grad certification in financial planning.
What school did you go to?
So I went to Missouri Valley, very extremely small school in the middle of Missouri. That's where I did my undergrad work. And then I graduated from Howard University School of Business financial planning program.
Oh, Howard. Okay. The HBCU.
Yeah.
Okay. How was that?
It was good. I mean, they just recently got that program, though. I mean, they haven't had it for a long time. I mean, their accounting program is deep. Their business program is deep, but they got their financial planning program just recently in 2018. Because in order for you to be a certified financial planner, it takes a lot of work to be a CFP. I'll tell you that. But in order for you to be a CFP, after you get your bachelor's degree, you have to go on and basically go to CFP school. You have to graduate from a CFP program, from a college level program, for you to be able to sit for the CFP exam. And I can tell you this, I got it, so if that needs to be a promotion to Howard's program, I was able to, graduate from that program, sit for the CFP exam, and pass. So.
And then what did you end up doing afterwards for your first job? Did you just continue to work with your dad, or did you go somewhere else?
Yeah. Number one thing was working with my father. I mean, there's so many different things. He's got, real estate holdings. He's got, the businesses that he has. So that took up, I mean, especially just coming out of college, that's going to take up 99% of your time. Just dealing with my family's account. I don't even have time to try to deal with outside clients at that point. That was more than enough, especially during a recession.
Yeah.
Right? Especially during a recession, there's a lot of moving pieces that we had to work with to be able to survive that. Any small business during a recession is extremely tough.
Oh, so he did survive it.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Okay, that's good. Yeah, because the recession was hard, especially because you said that he had some real estate as well. How did that survive as well, or did he get out of those?
Some we exit, some we were able to buy during the recession and just recently offload. Right, so there was some properties that we bought during the recession that we recently was able to offload at a huge markup, like a ridiculous markup. So
yeah, I lived in Las Vegas during the recession. That's when we bought our very first house, me and my wife. Man, I honestly regret selling that house. It was a $500,000 house that was in this brand new community. Obviously, the recession happened. Almost every house in that neighborhood was foreclosed. So we got that house for $172,000.
Nice.
So
okay.
It was a steal. At that time, though, I didn't have a lot of money. To me, it was like the mortgage payment, man, going back, honestly, is laughable. It was like $1,000. And I'm sitting there bitching about this is too much. This is too much. This is too much. Fast forward 4 years later, we sold it for a profit. I think we sold it for around $225,000.
Okay.
But this is like the house. Like, I don't know, like if you guys are familiar with Zillow or like USA, they'll send you an update of how much your house is worth. I hate it. I don't know how to take it off. But I get reminded how much of a bad decision it was to sell that house, because now it's going for nearly $500,000 again. So every house that we've bought moving forward.
Mhm.
We've never taken an L in it. We've always profited a little bit
Good.
off of it, typically like anywhere from 20 to 30. But had
Right.
we just held, because I was always afraid. I was like, I didn't want to rent the place out or anything. I didn't have anyone that I was surrounded by that was in the real estate game. So I just,
Gotcha.
when it's time for us to move, I just sold it.
Mhm.
But I recently went back and I looked at it. Had I just held on to them, I would be $1.5 million at this point. It's just crazy. It drives me nuts seeing that stuff because like I'm sitting here trying to hustle and do the whole stock market stuff. I was like, yo, I had an opportunity to just held these homes
Right.
and like they could have paid off this home, and it's crazy. So that's dope that you guys actually survived the recession and bought some stuff. They're even in Vegas. I mean, the apartment that my wife's mom was staying at was going for $50,000 at that time. So you could have bought 4 units.
Whoa.
Yeah. And I mean, they're going now for like 300. So it was, I'm hoping maybe one day that opportunity will happen again. I'm not hoping it for people who currently have a home, but you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I wish the opportunity would come back up.
Yeah.
So at what point, and I'm talking about myself and shit.
No,
at what point did you transition over to doing your own thing?
Okay, so at a certain point, my father was audited by the IRS. So I'm licensed to represent clients before the IRS for audits. So of course, I'm my father's counsel in this situation. They hit my father with a tax bill over $500,000. It was over $500,000 for and these were tax returns that were prepared by his former accountant before I stepped in, and it took maybe almost a year going back and forth, different hearings and different stuff that we were going back and forth with, but I was ultimately able to settle the $500,000 tax bill for less than $5,000. I want to say it was like a little over 4,000, something around that. I got it in my files, but when that happened, that's what made me really decide I've got a lot of value here. My father was paying me well. But when I saw that, with my skill set, I was able to get over a $500,000 tax bill down to less than $5,000. I was like, whoa, I can also take on some other clients in this situation that will definitely supplement my income. And my father was my cheerleader the whole time. I mean, the second we signed, I was able to. The second I got the deal from the IRS and I faxed it over to him and I showed him, he faxed it back, signed it, said thank you, and boom, boom, boom. He's telling all his friends, and he's got decades of business relationships in the St. Louis market that I was able to benefit from because he's telling all his friends and business associates about, what I was able to do for him. And then my phone started ringing. So at that point, I was like, yeah, it's time for me to open up my office beyond just my father's account. And let me start, get my feet wet and say, hey, this is now Thornton Advisor Group. Let me serve the community. Yeah.
Wow. So you pretty much just had your dad's job to starting your own business.
Yeah.
Nice. And you still consult for your dad?
Oh, he will always be my number one client.
And he's
regardless.
in the business and he's still running the business.
Yep, still to this day, he doesn't even have to go in. That's the thing. But he enjoys it, right? He enjoys the work. He enjoys like the deal making side of it. But I think I'm winning him over as far as not going as hard. Like there's certain days he just won't go in. I'm like, great. You don't have to, right?
Yeah.
Like you don't have to go in.
People are stubborn, man. Like this is like their baby, right? He created it from the bottom up. I'm assuming, right? He created it from the bottom up. It wasn't something that was passed on to him.
Nope. Started it from scratch himself. And, it's still something that he holds on to. My older brothers are still involved in the industry, kind of under his umbrella, but they operate independently with their own companies, but, underneath his brand and his umbrella. So it's still very much a family brand that he created that he still oversees.
Yeah. Now, I know you're married, right? Do you have any kids?
Yes, I do. Now, there's weirdos out there, so I'm not going to go in details.
Okay, no, I got you.
I don't want to go into the details, but yes, I'm married.
You look shocked. You're like, oh, no shit, he said kids. No, I got you. No, because I'm saying you're in a very unique position, right? Because you are hated and loved. There is it's so when you're in that space, I can see how that can possibly be a problem for your family, obviously. But what I wanted to say was since you have kids, are you trying to groom your kids to try to also get into your dad's family business, or grooming them to take over your business? Like, what are you seeing?
I mean, they're young. My children are young.
Okay. All
And
right.
but for the most part, what I try to do is just see where their talents are and just groom that. And with my mind and my father's mind, no matter what your talent is, we can find a way to utilize that within the family brand.
Yeah.
Right. So it doesn't matter. Like if I had a daughter that loves to draw, I'm going to fund that and push that. The next thing you know, when she's 25 years old, she's probably going to be head of marketing, right? So I know how to take a person's talent and put them in the right spot.
Yeah. Speaking of marketing, did you end up seeking out a degree in that area because you want to market for your business or for your dad's business? It's like, what made you have an interest in marketing?
I love the presentation of information, right? So when I saw marketing within the general scope of business, I was like, I'm good at talking, right? So it's a rare combination when you have someone that's good with numbers and they're also good at speaking and communications. So when you can put those things together, you set yourself apart in the business world. And then once again, the guys that I was looking up to outside of my father was Dame Dash and Diddy, right? So I saw their ability to market. I saw their ability to build brands. And I was like, okay, I think that's a great skill set to study because my father already has this great business. How can I turn the business into a known brand within his industry and make it even bigger?
Got you. Okay. And obviously, you've definitely done that because here you are on YouTube.
Right.
So now let's talk about that for a second. How did you what made you decide to start a YouTube channel to begin with? At what point in stage in your life did you say, you know what, I want to put up a camera and start talking?
Man, that's a great question. So, now that I have my own firm, so we're at the part of the story where I have my own firm, I have clients beyond just my father. And what would ultimately happen is I have a client, we create a financial plan for them and whatnot, but then they'll see something on social media, right? They'll see some sort of post or some sort of financial tip, and they would either DM me, text it to me, whatever, and they say, hey, JT, what do you think about this? This looks very attractive. This looks like something that I would want to do. Can I add this to my overall financial plan? And 9 times out of 10, it would be some BS. It would be some financial tip from a person who has no type of education in financial planning. They have no sort of financial advising license or certification. They're just talking. And it sounds convincing. It sounds really good, but they're just talking. And I would look at it, for the 2 minutes, 3 minutes, or whatever the post is, and I'd say to myself, I'm like, this is ridiculous. I'm wasting my time looking at something that is not feasible for my client to do. And I would sit and I'd have to call the client, billable hours now, billable hours. Like these people are paying me for my advice.
You forced me to watch this terrible video. I am going to charge you for it.
Right. I'm spending a billable hour to explain to the client why, hey, listen, this doesn't make sense. This is why it doesn't make sense. Maybe this is why this is actually some sort of fraudulent activity that you shouldn't engage in. And then I saw YouTube as an opportunity to say, hey, not only can I give this advice to my client who I already billed, right? I already billed the client for the advice. I can now package this on YouTube. And for people, the majority of the population, they do not have a relationship with a certified financial planner. They don't have a relationship with a financial advisor. And so when they see that type of content, they can't just say, hey, JT, check this out, and then pay a bill. They don't have that opportunity. And I thought to myself, man, this would be a great opportunity for me to, get good financial information out to the public and also build my brand as a financial planner. So those two things came together. And I just said, after a client sends me something and I actually do the research for it, then I'm gonna, make a video and see how the people feel about it. And honestly, it blew up way faster than I ever imagined that it would. So
Yeah. Like when did you actually get started? Because I came across you initially, obviously through the EYL video. I think the very first one with the hymns 5,500 or whatever.
Right.
That's how I came across your channel, and then I started watching some stuff previously. But when did you start? Was it 2020?
I started uploading videos to YouTube November 2021. Right?
Oh wow! So
2020, no, 2020, November 2020. November 2020.
Right after the pandemic.
Right after the pandemic. So November 2020 is when I first started uploading videos for Pocket Watching with JT. And my channel started blowing up around April-ish of the following year. So 2021, right? Follow the numbers there. 2021 April is when I got to 1,000 subs. Then by July, I probably was near 10,000.
That's crazy. Yeah, you blew up really, really fast.
Yeah.
Do you remember what your very first video was? Like what the subject was on?
Oh yeah, but my very first video, it wasn't even on any individual. My very first video, I was reacting to financial stuff in movies and pop culture. So I was actually I think I reacted to a scene from what's that? Boiler Room. So Boiler Room, the movie.
Oh, I love that movie.
I
love that movie.
So
yeah. Vin Diesel, Vin Diesel movie.
yeah. So I was reacting to a scene from Boiler Room. Boiler Room is a movie about a small broker dealer, financial advisor firm that was basically scamming people. They were getting people to buy investment securities and whatnot that ultimately were pump and dumps. And I was trying to explain that. So I wanted to explain to people what these things really mean from the point of view of a financial advisor, because the movie's entertaining, but I want people to learn what's actually going on. So that was like early on. So there's a YouTube channel with Legal Eagle. And I was a big fan of Legal Eagle's stuff. I love the way that he can find things within the law in pop culture and explain it to everyday people. I mean, even the way that I start my videos, right? When I start my videos, I say, hey, Pocket Watchers, if you go, y'all can go check him out. He's got millions of subscribers, Legal Eagles. When he opens up his YouTube channel, he says, hey, Legal Eagles, I totally stole that from him. I totally stole it.
Hey, at least he's being honest, right? It's like, I stole that. I like what he said. I took it. No, I got you. Oh, okay. Dope. And then which video was the one that you feel like is the one that catapulted you and had your channel take off?
Man, I don't know what particular video. I can say a particular collab is what really helped my channel.
A collaboration?
Yeah. A collab that I did. So it wasn't, I can't think of one particular video that I did, because my video, I mean, they started getting views. But the thing that I can say day one was like this, and then the next day it was like this, was my interview that I did with O'Shea Duke Jackson. That I can tell you without a doubt was a game changer for my YouTube channel. I did an interview with O'Shea Duke Jackson on one day that I had maybe around 1,000 subs. The next day I was at like 4,000 subs after doing one interview with O'Shea Duke Jackson. That is the game changer for my YouTube channel.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen that one. I gotta check that one out. What was it on? Like, what was the whole topic that he brought you on to give it like accounting advice?
Yeah, I think it was just it was a general interview. It was just a general interview that he was doing, because he was doing a lot of collabs with smaller YouTube channels, just asking us what we do and giving game. Because the lead attorney, that's how I met the lead attorney. The lead attorney did an interview with O'Shea Duke Jackson. He was doing a whole series of these collabs. And I saw the lead attorney on O'Shea Duke Jackson's channel doing that collab. There was a bunch of other smaller YouTubers doing those collabs. And he saw my channel. The thing about it is, he didn't even know what my channel was about initially. He just saw the name Pocket Watching with JT, and he kind of laughed.
He liked it.
And he thought it was cool. And then, we kind of emailed back and forth, and I ultimately ended up doing that interview.
That's dope. Why'd you choose that name though, Pocket Watching?
So I was thinking of something that would catch people's. Once again, go back to my experience with marketing in college. I was like, I'm looking for a name that's going to catch someone's ear enough for them to want to find out more. And obviously the term pocket watching within the culture is something negative, right?
Yeah. That's what I was like.
They like pocket watching. That's a negative thing. But I really thought about it and I said, no, I'm literally paid to pocket watch. Like the negative thing that people use with pocket watching, like obviously you worrying about what another person is doing with their money. When you have no relationship with that person, it's kind of petty. It doesn't make sense. But as a certified financial planner, I'm literally paid to do that. I'm literally paid to not only review what someone is doing with their money, but to offer them advice to make better moves with their money. And I knew this was a term that no one else was going to claim because it was something that has a negative tone to it within the culture. So I was like, I can have this all to myself and no one else is going to try to use this term with their brand. And you know what I learned in college about marketing, that is an opportunity. I took something that is already well known within the culture and was able to attach myself to it. It automatically kind of made people say, I want to check this out.
Yeah. No, because I definitely see that because you could just even type in like pocket watching with JT or JT the Pocket Watcher or just pocket watching. Like you show up regardless if you just type that in at this point. So
nobody's trying to get that title tagged to that name. So I was like, this is a great opportunity to own something within the space that can automatically give me brand recognition.
Right. Yeah. And has that helped? Has that brought you more clients as well to,
oh yeah, I mean,
besides just YouTube, obviously YouTube it did, but did it bring you like prominent clients as well that you sit there
I mean, there's certain things I can't disclose, but in general sense, certain people who are now clients of mine, or even if it's like a one-off consultation, they met me through the pocket watching brand. But honestly, most of my clients of my firm, I want to say like 90% of them have no idea I have a YouTube channel. They have no idea. It's not something that we
discuss or anything
during our appointments. But those who met me through it, they obviously know.
Yeah. That's really dope, man. I'm happy for you. When did you start actually putting more time into the YouTube channel? Like on here every day, especially during tax season. Because you constantly pumping out videos. Like I give you credit to that. Like, man, I don't like every Friday you're pumping out videos. I think that there's like 2 other times during the week that you pump out videos as well. You love confrontation. You do lives. So at like what point did you decide, you know what, I want to start putting more emphasis on my YouTube channel?
Well, I mean, I do Wednesday night live streams with Orlando Minor, right? And Orlando is someone, I say all the time, this is someone I know in real life, long before we both had YouTube channels. And he is a person that is very calculated, right? If you know Orlando is a person, he doesn't just do stuff. He does a lot of research. He joins in different groups and stuff like that. He does a lot of background stuff. And it was really through my conversations with Orlando. And Orlando was like, hey man, you could probably do better if you do X, Y, and Z. Like, cause he talks to like big time YouTubers, like people who have millions of subs and stuff like that. He's like within these networks where he's talking to people. And he really was the one that convinced me that, hey man, you need to put more out there. You need to do more because you got an opportunity. Because honestly, I interviewed Orlando on my channel early in the game. This is when he had 1,000 subs and I probably had less than 200.
Yeah, right? He was so done. Yeah.
Right. So he was giving me like game on how to do better. And ultimately in our conversations, it shows where the direction of my brand is going now. It's like, he was like, you can focus on the way that you give financial tips and stuff to your clients and consultations and stuff. If you can bring that element to YouTube, it would be a game changer. I mean, you could be the Black Dave Ramsey for our culture if you do X, Y, and Z. And that's been something that I've been trying to battle with and transition my channel from being a reaction channel to a live streaming call-in financial talk show, which I just recently have been able to make that kind of somewhat full transition into. But a lot of that comes from having conversations with O'Shea Duke Jackson, having conversations with the lead attorney, having conversations with Orlando of what can I do to really add more value to the over 55,000 people who made the commitment and say, hey, I'm going to subscribe? And what's more natural to me? Because when you talk about, yeah, you pump out a lot of content, it ain't work to me. It doesn't feel like work when I'm doing these live streams. All I have to do is cut on the camera, talk about a topic, and then let people call up and ask me questions. I was born for this. My father made me into this since I was 9 years old. You shoot out a question, I'm going to answer it. I mean, my father was like, hey, how much in X did we buy today? What's this? What's that? How much money do we have left? What should we be doing? I mean, I've been doing this since I was 9 years old, so it doesn't feel like work. All I got to do is cut on this camera and let people call up, and I'm going to answer your question. Now, I may not have an answer for you. I may have to direct you to another resource to get the answer, but it don't feel like work. That's why I can do 3 or 4 live streams a week, because it really doesn't feel like work to me.
Now, when it does begin to feel like work or you don't enjoy it anymore, are you going to ditch it?
Yeah, I'm not going to do it. I'm only going to do what I feel like doing. I mean, I'm not a multi-gazillionaire, right? I don't fly on private jets. But long before I was on YouTube, I can't remember a time where I couldn't pay a bill, right? But I'm conservative. I'm fiscally conservative. I spend less than I make. I don't spend a lot of money on luxury items. If I want something, I get it. If my wife wants something, I get it. But it's not something like I'm trying to compete financially with other people. So long before I was on YouTube, I was pretty well off in a sense, right? And once again, I'm not claiming Rolex status and Lambos, but
You're comfortable. You're comfortable.
I'm comfortable,
yeah.
right?
Yeah,
I'm comfortable, and I'm not going to allow YouTube to turn me into like I've got to chase this materialism and money. I'm only going to create content that I like doing. It doesn't feel like work.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That makes sense, because I'm the same way too. I slowed down my content a little bit, which is probably the dumbest thing to do when you're finally kind of taking off. But
algorithm, you got to feed that algorithm.
Like I know how it is, but when it stops becoming fun for me, I will slow it down. And I had another YouTube channel before the Trading with a Dummy. I had one called The Master None. My whole thing was I started on New Year's, and I was like, I'm gonna do it for 1 year. I did it, and I was like, I have fun. Peace out. I left. I was done. Abandoned the channel. Every blue moon, I go in there if I want to talk about like movies or some random stuff or politics. I go in there. Whatever's not trading related, I kind of go in there and drop a video. But for the most part, I always told myself, I'm not going to allow this to become a job. Now, I do get paid off of YouTube. Surprisingly, I mean, it went a lot faster than I expected. Right. And the money's not bad. You know, I mean, it's nothing you could live off of, but it's not bad. Right. But I'm not going to be a slave to YouTube, and my stuff requires editing. That's honestly one of the hardest part is the editing stuff. So.
That I'm telling you, that's the main reason why I do live streams. I don't like to. I mean, you guys sit down. I was doing it for a minute. I've got some videos where they're like 8 minutes, 15-minute videos, and I was talking to bigger YouTubers, and they was like, "Man, this is the way that you could really blow up your channel." So I did it for a little while, and I was like, "This is way too much work. This is entirely way too much work." And I was like, "Man, I'll cut it on, go live, call me up, I'll answer your questions." I can do that all day long. That doesn't feel like work, but yeah, it's a hard grind, especially when you get caught up into the cycle of trying to please the algorithm, right?
Yes.
I've talked to some YouTubers and they say, "Man, I don't even like doing the type of videos that I do." And these are people who make thousands of dollars making these videos. Like, I don't even like doing these. I want to do something else, but I can't, because the second I start making other videos, the ones that I want to do, YouTube's not going to promote those videos, and my large following are not going to watch those videos. And now I have a lifestyle that is somewhat dependent on this YouTube money. And I made a promise to myself that I will never put myself in that position where I'm held captive by a certain type of video that gets the most views. Like, that's not what I'm trying to do.
Hence the reason why you think about trying to change it up and kind of lean more towards a Dave Ramsey method versus CoffeeZilla. Are you familiar with CoffeeZilla, by the way?
Oh, man, look, I was a subscriber of CoffeeZilla before he had 5,000 subs. Like, I was emailing him like, "Hey man, check this person out," and check. I've been down and watching CoffeeZilla stuff for a long time.
Yeah, because you've kind of become. I've heard that term being used. They're like JT is basically the CoffeeZilla for the Black culture,
Right?
And I mean, I know that's kind of like where your stuff also kind of took off a little bit because you would review some of these ridiculous I guess tips or gems that people are dropping and stuff.
Right.
Now, when did your space kind of turn into either we love you or we hate you? Like when did you start seeing the hate kind of start coming in?
Really? I mean, I don't really see it other than there's fans of the people who I review. Once again, I try my best not to make it personal. These are not personal attacks against anybody who may be featured on my channel. And I say, hey, the things that they're saying doesn't make sense. It's not a personal thing, but I understand what it's like to be a fan. I'm a fan of certain things and certain personalities. And when I see something that looks like it's being negative towards them, I have a reaction to it. But the hate that I get, I understand it is because you like that person. You like that person and you feel as if I'm attacking that person. But I'm trying to make it clear, I'm only pointing out inaccurate financial information, or I am explaining a financial topic using this person as a example. Anything that I do it on is someone is like, they presented this information publicly. It's not like JT is hiring private investigators of private individuals. You have a person that is a public figure and they're presenting information to the public, and then I critique it. You can love, and the thing about the hate that I get, they almost never say, JT, you are factually incorrect with your critique. They just say, leave the person alone.
Yeah, or you're hating, or you're clout chasing, right. Or you're just holding other brothers down, other Black females down. Like I've seen all your comments, man. I seen it. Because I'm gonna be real with you. When you asked me to come on your show, I wasn't sure. I was excited because I was like, I gotta watch this guy. But at the same time, I was like, ooh, I don't know. I know he's got people who they love him or hate him. So I was like, I don't know. But I took the risk because one of my buddies, he watches your show, and I had a discussion with him, and I was like, hey, that JT Pocket guy wants me to come on, and he was like, okay. Like, I don't know how I feel about it. He's like, fuck what everyone else thinks. He's like, just do you, man. He's like, do you like his stuff? Yeah. Do you want to go on? Yeah. It's like, who gives a shit what other people think? It's like, just do you. Just do you. So and I did. I'm glad I did come on there. But I did get some hate afterwards a little bit.
I mean, it's the weirdest thing. So it just comes from like a tribalism, right?
Yes, that is the thing.
They like their person. And once again, I've never called for the canceling of anybody or any platform, right? I've never said, you should never watch so-and-so ever again, or this person, no, I'm just saying, this person who said this thing that they're saying is factually incorrect. Here's the actual information that you should follow. Or these are the reasons why you should not follow this, that, and other. Now, I've got a weird personality. I'm somewhat excitable. I'm passionate about it. I say it in a somewhat funny way for a financial advisor. But when you take all of that away, when you take away the way I say something or my animation and stuff like that, I'm just a financial advisor saying that this is wrong and this is right.
Yeah,
that's it.
I had that conversation with people. I was like, it's like, you guys you may not like JT's delivery, but you need to listen to what he's saying, because what he's saying is not inaccurate. You just don't like the delivery. Right. Like, oh, he's too aggressive, or he's too this, or he's too passionate, or whatever. But is what he's saying wrong? Well, no.
Right.
Then there's nothing. But I gotta. I mean,
but here's the funny part. I just want to touch on that. Here's the funny part about it. If I wasn't passionate, because this is just my personality, right? If I wasn't passionate, or if my tone wasn't like this, no one would watch. No one would watch.
That's true.
Because you would just have a guy sitting there saying, okay, this part of what this guy is saying, this is actually bank fraud. Why is it bank fraud? Because of code section, No,
next video.
People wouldn't even watch it to get upset. So it's like, what do you want here? Either
Yeah.
you want financial information that's accessible to the people, or you don't, because I'm telling you, there's hundreds and hundreds of other financial channels that no one is watching, and they're giving basically the same information I'm giving it, but they're not giving it in the delivery that I'm doing.
Yeah. Do you, however, I have to ask you this question.
No, go ahead.
Does it, oh, there we go.
Yeah.
Wait, let me, wait, no.
He should be done cutting the grass in this area shortly, hopefully.
Yeah. Because now that's loud. I heard that.
Yeah, he's like right here now.
Yeah. Okay. I'll give it a second.
Yeah, because now he's right here, and he should be leaving, hopefully.
Who cuts grass on a Saturday?
And he just has
I don't know. My lawn guy was showing up on every Monday, man. But I let him go, and then I hired him back because I don't want to cut the grass myself. But he brought in I guess when you have a lawn business and when you cut multiple grass areas, sometimes you bring in chipmunks or something.
His father is my next door neighbor.
Oh, okay.
So he just cuts our grass at the same time.
Okay, same time. Yeah, because my grass, man, I had the nicest grass in the neighborhood when we first moved in. Now it's like it's not looking good. It's looking rough. It's like the chink bugs or something got to it. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I think all right. Sounds like it's done. All right, okay. It is 50. All right. So what I gotta ask you is, does it bother you though seeing some of these people out there who have a huge following? Because again, you're in the marketing business yourself, right? So what they're doing is they are selling. They're marketing and they're selling information. Right. Does it bother you a little bit though? I mean, it seems like it might bother you somewhat, the advice that they're giving, and it pisses you off.
Yeah, I mean that there's an element to that, right? It bothers me because it's like I know real financial advice. I mean, I'm academically trained. I mean, I'm not saying someone who doesn't go to college for this can't speak on financial stuff. That's not what I'm saying. But it's like I know what's right and I know what's wrong. But here's the best example I can give. There are real personal trainers. There's people who know about health. There's people who know how to take a person from being obese to being very healthy, right? They know the right ways, the diet and all that stuff, the exercise. But there's always some infomercial or there's something about how you can get in shape by taking a pill or using this particular equipment. And I'm like, there's like, of course people are going to flock to that because as human beings, naturally, you want the easiest thing. You want to get your results the fastest way in the easiest way. So it's not as if it's my mission to change the way that people react because I know human nature. If someone is offering you a get rich quick plan, you're going to be interested in that plan. I'm well aware of that. But my passion for trying to correct that comes from I know the right way. They will always be bigger than me. The people who offer get rich quick, the people who offer you the secret ways of how rich white folks make money that try to keep it from you, those people who do that, they will always be bigger than a pocket watching with JT because naturally, that's what people want to hear. I'm giving you the dose of medicine that you may not want to take, but ultimately is going to be better for you. They're offering you the sugar and candy.
I agree with you because I've kind of fallen into that category now. When I first started my YouTube channel, it was supposed to be all about positive happiness and stuff. And but as I start going from group to group and I start learning stuff and you kind of see the bigger picture, you're like, okay, this isn't really true. It's not as easy as, hey, you can take $500 and you can invest it. And then tomorrow you're going to make 6 figures. Now there's a minority, right? I'm sure there's people who have taken $500 and turn it into 6 figures. I personally know one, but it's not the majority. And it's exactly what you're saying. Is like
it's like the lottery winner. Okay, yes,
correct.
Someone's going to win the lotto. I'm not saying that the lottery is a scam where no one ever wins. The thing that I'm trying to tell the people is don't bank on winning the lottery as your retirement plan. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying that you can't win. I'm sure someone's winning. But if you start to bank on it as if this is going to be your retirement plan,
Mm-hmm.
you're going to end up broke.
Yeah. It's easier selling a dream to somebody than it is to sell a reality, right? I interviewed a guy named SG, goes by the Stock God, right? His real name's Eric. He's a trader. He doesn't sell anything.
Okay.
He doesn't. You'll see the interview when it comes out. He doesn't sell anything. He doesn't want to teach anybody anything. But the guy, like, he kind of opened my eyes on a little bit on the scammy part of it. I won't say scammy part because, again, there are the minority that are successful. But his thing was like, if I'm a trader, he was like, I'm a trader. So if I'm selling something to someone, that person should be able to say, hey, can I see 6 months of your broker statement to make sure that what you're saying is accurate? Can I see? Yeah, it's like, can I actually see you, like, some videos maybe of you actually live trading, actually seeing that that's your real account? Right. And the way he explained it was great. It's like, if you go to a doctor, you have cancer, you go to a doctor and you're like, well, what school did you go to? How many people have you treated? What has been your success rate? You don't just go in there and be like, oh, you're a doctor? Cool. Yeah. Operate on me or give me chemotherapy. You want to know. You need to know. And he was right, because then after he mentioned that, on my channel, I do ask people now, as of January 1st, if I interview anybody who's in the financial literacy space, who is selling a program, I will ask them, do you make more money selling programs than you do trading or investing yourself? Yeah. And a lot of them are very honest, right? I had a guy named Gerald Peters who came on. He was like, no, I was like, I make more money, or last year I made more money selling courses in my group. Honest guy. But then there's people who are afraid, who are like, oh no, yeah, I'm not gonna come on your show because, I just don't think I should disclose something like that. But why not? Because the reality is, if you really think about it, if you're charging $50 per person every month and you have 7,000 people following you, why do you need to trade yourself?
That's the thing that gets me the most about the whole fake guru space, right? These are people who were not successful in building any type of business other than the business of selling you the business, right? So it's like, you weren't successful. I don't care what it is. It can be real estate. There's people who make a lot of money selling courses about how you can become rich in real estate, but they never became rich selling real estate. They became rich selling you courses about real estate. And it goes down the line, Forex trading, whatever it is. They make their money teaching you how to do it, but they never actually did it and was successful in doing it. And to me, I don't like that. That's the part where it says, well, hell, if you couldn't be successful in doing it, how are you going to teach me how to be successful in doing it? Unless ultimately, and this is how it becomes like this ridiculous pyramid scheme. After you get through all of the courses and you're like, I'm still not making money doing the thing that you teach me. You get to a level where it's like, listen, if you really want to make the real money, start selling courses about all the stuff that I taught you. And then you start to see all these many fake gurus who were mentored by the big boss. Yeah. And you're still sitting there like, okay, so he sells courses. You bought his courses. Now you have courses. When are you actually ever doing the thing that you're supposed to say you're
doing? Okay, I agree with you in a little bit of this, but I'm going to challenge you on that, because I wouldn't say everybody is like that, right? Where it's like,
I'm sorry, if I said everybody is like that, let me correct myself. Everybody's not like that. I don't remember saying that, but let me go on the record.
Yeah.
Everybody's not like that, but you can see many examples of these endless chain of mentor, mentee selling courses on the same exact thing. And I'm like, well, it's a digital product. Why do I need the mini person? I could just buy the same course. Like, why am I now buying a course from someone who bought a course from someone who bought a course? Like, well,
yeah, it's like it's a trick effect, and it does have that pyramid scheme aspect to it, and I agree with you 100% because that does happen. Another thing I've been seeing recently, since obviously if you follow the stock market, everything's been going to shit for months. So what I started seeing some of these gurus or experts Some I started seeing shifting away from stocks and now it's real estate again, or Airbnb.
Oh wow, really?
And I'm like, oh, so you went from being a stock guru to all of a sudden a Airbnb house flipper guru. Like what happened? And that's and that to me was like a red flag. I'm like, oh, okay, you making money off of selling courses. That's your thing. I'm not saying this is what this person does, but Grant Cardone is like the first person that I remember experiencing where I watched. I listened to him a lot. And I was like, wait a second. This guy really makes majority of his money selling out arenas, selling his programs, selling books. Right. And then if you follow the money, it's like, oh, he makes all this money here, really. I mean, sure, he probably at one point or another did start in the real estate business, maybe made a pretty good living for himself, but the way he becoming the billionaire that he is, or millionaire, whatever he is, that came from marketing. And marketing himself and his brand. And then he may use that money to buy more houses. But that's the reality. And I want people to understand that. And I'm not knocking anyone's hustle because, again, I mean, if you go to the bookstore, you buy a book off of somebody who obviously did whatever the job was at one point. And it's like, you know what? I think I'm going to write this down and sell this book to somebody who could maybe benefit from it. But I think people need to really understand that if you see some of these traders or investors, that lifestyle that they're living, you have to ask yourself, well, are you living this lifestyle because you made this money doing what you're selling or selling the courses? And that's why I like that I wouldn't say you don't technically bring these people on, but you mention them and you're like, you opening up the eyes for people to see that there's more to the story than what the guy is pitching. It's kind of, Dr. Umar Johnson, I called in for that, for example. I mean, guy is obviously a scam artist, a charlatan. But going back to the whole marketing aspects of things, because you also market yourself, right? You market your products and stuff, and you also have a group, don't you? Don't you have like a Patreon?
Well, now I got the YouTube membership. So my YouTube membership is basically you have access to all my old videos.
Okay, so you don't sell anything.
No. But I do like a monthly Ask Me Anything, where if you're a member of my YouTube membership, you can be in the chat freely and ask me anything. But I don't have like a course, or I don't do like life coaching and stuff like that. The only thing I do is I make YouTube videos. As far as YouTube, I make YouTube videos and I get the ad revenue off YouTube videos. And then, sometimes a person will watch my YouTube video and they will book a consultation with me, at my firm. That's basically it.
What do you think some of these people who are selling products cross the line? At what point?
To me, it's if you're selling a product that isn't what it's all advertised to be, right? So let me kind of flesh out that idea. I don't mind anyone selling products like, Orlando Minor, a real friend in real life, is channels about real estate. He has a course where he teaches people the basics on how you can get into real estate. He doesn't teach a course that tells you how you can become a millionaire in real estate, because the odds are you probably won't. And a course that you buy for less than $1,000 is probably not going to teach you on how to become a millionaire, because if that's the case, everybody would be a millionaire. You just buy the course you buy the course for $1,000. So being able to share information and package information, I'm all for that. It's when it becomes something like, buy this course and here are the things that you'll be able to do and the type of money you can make. That part gets ridiculous. And if you're a person who never actually did the stuff within the course, and you're selling the course and you have no idea if this stuff is actually effective or not, you're just pulling information that you find online and you're packaging it and saying, yeah, this is a course that's going to help you do X, even though you've never done X. To me, that's crossing the line, because you don't even have the industry knowledge to help someone out when they meet with the obstacles that everybody's going to meet with. You can't say, oh, you should do this, that, and other, because you've never done it. You're simply selling a course to people with basic information that you could probably find if you just Google long enough. But that's the things that I don't like. I don't like overpriced courses that are overhyped. courses that cost multiples of thousands of dollars that promise you that you'll get information that you can't find anywhere else. And this type of information will make you a multimillionaire. That's the stuff I don't like.
Yeah. And that's the same with me. That's when I would say I got a little bit disgruntled when I started realizing, oh, you're just repackaging basic information and selling for a premium. Suckers start falling for it because, again, you have a fan base. So you start following this person. You're like, I like this person. I'm going to go pay for this because I trust this person. And a lot of us don't even really know who that person is. Speaking of the people that you always cover, do you ever put out an open invitation like you could come on my show and you can okay. Because I don't know who the guy was, but there was one who came on your show recently. I think it was 2 weeks ago.
Pushman Mitch.
Yeah, with the shoes in the background.
Oh, no. You're thinking of Anton Daniels. Yeah.
Yes. Oh, so yeah, two people that, okay.
Yeah. I had Pushman Mitch on recently. And then these are people who actually accepted the invitation. Right? So that it's always, I've never told anyone, you can't come on my show. You can't defend your position on. I've never told anyone. I've extended the invitation and I've either been blocked by the person or they just completely ignored it. And maybe they're just so busy because these people have much huger online platforms than me. They probably get 100 or 1,000 DMs or emails a day and they just didn't see it. Cool. But I've never blocked anybody and just denied and said, you can't come on my show and explain your position. Never done it. And I can't imagine that I ever will. I've always, because once again, it's not personal to me. It's we're talking about finance. Either, you have a point of view and I've got a point of view. It's just that for the most part, my point of view comes from a background of I've studied this in college. I practice this. I have licenses and certifications in this. And this person most likely doesn't. So, I mean, that's the only thing about it. They have maybe a personal experience of this is what they did, but they don't really have a full knowledge of how these things can affect people in different financial situations. That's what you learn when you become a certified financial planner. That's what you learn when you study financial planning in college. A particular investment strategy can impact people differently based on their particular financial situation. And we have to learn how to apply these different financial strategies for the individual, not just, oh, this is cool, everybody should do it. And so anybody who ever feels as if maybe I didn't characterize your position correctly and you want to come on the show and give a rebuttal or give an explanation, the door is always open. It's never been shut, ever.
Do you feel like any of those, like how many guests actually accepted that offer? Was it just those two?
As of right now, there's just those two.
Do you feel like they changed your mind at all?
What they did was they gave me their point of view, right? And for them to give me their point of view, it makes sense. Recently with Pitchman Mitch, the one that I did maybe a week or so ago, he came on and said, listen, the video that you were critiquing was an old video. See, I didn't know it was an old video. It was a video that was posted recently. So he did an interview with the EYL network and he said something that basically amounts to bank fraud. And my followers, and this is what they naturally do. If they see a video that seems a little off to them, they'll say, JT, what's your opinion on this? What do you think? So I uploaded a video that said, hey, this sounds like bank fraud to me, right? This sounds like bank fraud. And ultimately, he reached out and said, hey, man, let's have a conversation and talk about this. And it wasn't about him trying to change my mind. He came on and said, like, JT, you're right. This was bank fraud, but it's an old video before you started doing what you do. And I now know that that's bank fraud. I didn't know. It's an old video, and the person who interviewed him just re-uploaded it for some reason. And I'm like, oh, well, that makes sense. It's an old video. You did it before I hit the scene and I exposed this particular strategy as a scam. We good. My point is we need to get the information out to the public that this is something that they should not be doing. And if it stays out there, we've got to be responsible and say, no, it's wrong. So I really admire the fact that Pushman Mitch came on. He recognized, oh yeah, that was old, and that's before, you know, I saw your content and realized that, yeah, that was something wrong. I have no beef with him. I never had a beef with him before. I don't have a beef with him now. And I respect the man that came on and said, you know what, JT, you're right. I wasn't seeing it through your professional lens. And he even said, hey, if I got something else, can I reach out to you and get your opinion of it? And I said, absolutely. That's what I'm here for, to give you my professional opinion on particular financial things. Is it something that you should do or something that you should not do?
Yeah, because most people won't come on, obviously, because they're just like, no, I'm not going to even give this guy the attention, or they will give you the attention in a different way by just like tweeting subliminally about you or something like that. So
Yeah.
that totally makes sense.
Yeah. But I think ultimately, though, it comes to a maturity level, right? Because we talked about this before. No one has ever come up and said JT is factually incorrect in what he's saying. Right? If you can point out something that I said that's factually incorrect, I'll say, you know what, you're right. But what ends up happening is people build a brand on being an expert in something, and instead of just saying, oh, you know what, I misspoke. That's the easiest way out of it.
It really is.
I feel like you should just say, you know what, guys, I misspoke in the moment. I saw JT's video. JT's right. What I said was incorrect. It shouldn't reflect on my overall brand, on all the other stuff that I do. But this one particular thing that JT's pointing out, you know what, he's right. Thank you, JT, for pointing that out, because we don't want bad financial information out there.
Yeah.
We moving forward. That's all they should be able to do. But some of these people aren't the best media trained, right? Because this is what you'll see at a higher level media trained personality. They know, stop it in its tracks. Yes, this is factually incorrect. Let me get out the right information. I'm going to learn from this and move forward. They just want to ignore it and just call it hating, which ultimately just seems silly on their part. I mean, of course, their followers are going to be like, yeah, he's a hater.
You hating. Yeah, you hating.
But someone who's objective is going to look at that and say, oh, come on, man, just admit that you were wrong and move forward.
Yeah.
And that's what I want to do. I want to make sure that people understand that that's the bridge that I'm offering you. I'm offering you the opportunity to either explain to me why I'm either factually incorrect, or you could just say, you know what, JT's right. You know, this doesn't reflect on my whole brand, but you know, JT's right. Let's get this corrected so we can move forward.
Through doing what you're doing, I'm sure we were talking about the whole hate part, but have you gotten like death threats before and lawsuits and all that other stuff?
Certain people have said that, you know, things that I said is defamation. You're defaming me, right? Some people like hit me up on either, you know, DM, or they made a post and I said, okay, well, could you please point out where this is defamation? Because I've studied business law. You know, I'm not an attorney, but I had to study business law, and I do understand how defamation and slander works. And here's the thing. Truth is the best defense to defamation. If I say something about a particular person, and once again, I try not to say things about individuals. I say things about information that they present. But if I say, hey, this information that they're presenting is either inaccurate or it's fraudulent, the greatest defense to defamation is it true? Because if it's true, even if it hurts your brand, because some of these people, they don't understand how defamation works. Defamation is you said something that was untrue and it hurt my brand financially. You owe me money to recoup from the damage that you did to my brand by saying something that was untrue. But if the statement is true and it also hurts your brand, there's no defamation there. So no, I haven't. I've had threats of it, but I've never had an actual, you know, court proceeding or anything like that. Because I'm pretty sure these people, if they go see an attorney, the attorney will explain to them if what JT is saying is true.
Yeah,
it's not defamation.
Yeah, and obviously, as long as you stick to the truth, that's really how you get around it. Because I knew the minute when I started doing these review channels on trading groups, I had to make sure I can't give too much of my opinion or speculation. I have to give factual information only. And at the end, I will say, this is my opinion. Do I think it's worth it or not? That's just my opinion. You can't sue me over it. You can't be like, well, he said it's not worth whatever X, Y, and Z amount that I'm charging. Okay, that's my opinion. And everything else I said,
you're well within your right. It's only when you're saying something that is something that you know is factually incorrect,
a lie,
and you did it to damage the person.
Correct. Yeah. So speaking about damage, let's go ahead and get this question out the way.
Let's do it.
JT, are you in a business of destroying Black people's brands?
Absolutely not. I am the biggest cheerleader that you could probably find of trying to promote Black brands. I buy Black, I support Black, and not in a racist way, but I try to find a way. If I'm going to spend money, I ask myself the question, do I have an opportunity to spend this dollar with a Black brand, right? I learned that from my father from a young age. What I do, though, my content is mainly within Black culture, right? I consider myself like a Black Dave Ramsey, right? I reach out to my community because here I am. I'm in this community and I'm giving financial advice to people who normally don't have access to legitimate financial information. So it's not as if I'm trying to target any type of Black brand to bring it down. I'm just trying to correct inaccurate information that impacts the Black community. That's the thing. I don't focus on the individual who's presenting the information. My focus is on the audience of the information. It just so happens that the audience of the information, the Black community that I'm reaching out to, the presenters of the information just happen to be Black for the most part. That's just how marketing and branding works, right? For the most part, people who present financial information to Black people in popular culture, they're normally going to be Black. I mean, that's just how it is. Now, I've done videos on Grant Cardone because Grant Cardone actively attempts to market to the Black community. That's why I do. So that's why I do videos on him, because of his marketing material to the Black community. But I don't target Black presenters. I target the audience that they point to.
Okay. Because I'm using, things I've read on comments and stuff.
Sure.
So like another one is, if you don't agree with a brand, why not just ignore it?
Oh, that's a good one. Okay. So that is a weird position to take, right? Because once again, I'm a certified financial planner. I love my profession, and I see it as a duty to correct what is wrong. It's not that I can just ignore it, because I understand the harm that can actually happen to an individual. I know people who have seen certain financial tips online, attempted to apply that financial tip to their life, and it caused them some sort of financial hardship. Even if it's, I did this tax thing that I saw online, and now the IRS is auditing me. Now I owe the IRS X amount of money. I invested in this thing that I saw online, and now I lost thousands of dollars. So I can't, in good nature, I just can't allow bad information to live out there in social media without me, at least from my little platform, because my platform is little compared to the people who are presenting this information. I have to, at bare minimum, give a rebuttal to it. So no, I can't just leave it alone. Now, there's a lot of stuff that I don't agree with that I do leave alone because it's not harmful, right? When you are a professional, there's certain positions that you can take within your industry where there's not a right or wrong, it's your particular position, right? There's things that I see people say and say, that's not something that I would tell a client, but it's not harmful. So I do leave that alone. If you see me address something, it's because I believe the information is harmful, and I have to either warn people or let people know what it is. I can't let that slide. I just can't.
Thank you. Yeah, we're definitely a little bit over time. I kept you a little bit longer than I think I told you. So,
that's okay.
Yo, JT, thank you so much for coming on my channel. Again, tell people where they can find you. Let me put up your logo one more time.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, Mark, once again, I love your content. I'm subscribed, because
Thank you. I know I see you sometimes give me the fire.
Right. Some people don't like subscribe. They'll just watch your stuff and won't subscribe. I'm subscribed to you. So I thank you and I appreciate what you do. If people want to find me, you can go to pocketwatcher.net. All the links to any other thing is on pocketwatcher.net. But hey, click the subscribe button on YouTube and you can check me out.
Absolutely. Oh, before I let you go, one last thing. What is the best advice you can give somebody right now when they're trying to, I guess, get into the financial space, whether it's trading, real estate, whatever? What's the best advice that you could give someone?
Okay. If you are starting out and you want to improve your life financially, there's all these different options that you can go. There's people that say real estate is the best thing to do. There's trading is the best thing to do. You can do all these other programs. The very first thing that you need to do, you need to make sure that your personal financial situation is stable. Because if you try to get into these various, even legitimate, let's just say everything's legitimate. If you attempt to get into these various investment opportunities out of desperation, you're going to lose. You're most likely going to lose because you're doing it out of desperation. My suggestion is before you attempt to dive head first into any type of investing opportunity, you need to first figure out, okay, I need to be in a position personally where I'm not acting out of desperation. What does that mean? That means I need to take a look and actually create a budget for my life. I don't care how much money you make. You can make $100,000 a year, or you could be making $30,000 a year. You need to have a budget, and you need to make sure that you are spending less than what you are making. And then that extra little bit that you have left over, you need to create an emergency savings fund so that when things pop up, you don't have to, get a payday loan or put something on a credit card. You can go to your emergency savings fund. When your financial life is somewhat stable, you have a clear mind. So when you actually go out and try to do these various financial opportunities that you have, you won't be acting out of desperation. So that's the very first thing you have to do. You have to make some sort of financial foundation in your personal life where you're not acting out of desperation. And it's going to be hard for some people. If you're a person who you're making like $2,800 a month and your bills are around $2,600 a month, it's going to be hard for you to build up that savings. Maybe you need to take a look and see, okay, what are things that you can cut out of your life? Maybe you need to stop eating out at restaurants and just only prepare food at home from groceries for 6 months. That sounds extreme, right? Like I can't eat out at a restaurant for 6 months. You can't afford it. You're acting as if you're financially stable. You're doing the actions of a financially stable person, but you're not financially stable. You need to make sacrifices. So my thing is, make a sacrifice of becoming financially stable before you try to invest in something, because if you act out of desperation, it's going to end bad.
Thank you so much. If you guys took anything away from this whole conversation, that last 3 minutes, y'all better have your notebooks in your hand taking notes. Again, JT, I appreciate it. You guys can find JT at Pocket Watching with JT on YouTube. Make sure you follow this brother, because again, you may not always like his delivery, but he ain't lying. He ain't lying. He's got his YouTube channel is amazing. And again, like he said, he's trying to slowly transition over to trying to be the Black Dave Ramsey. So go ahead, tune in. What days do you pop up again?
Now, I do lives on Wednesdays, Fridays, Saturdays-ish. So mostly you're always going to catch me on a Wednesday, and I'm trying to get into Fridays, Saturdays, and Mondays, but always on Wednesday nights.
There you go. Yeah. Appreciate you, JT. Once again, everyone, I am Mark. You are watching Trading with a Dummy, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. Peace out.
Yeah, I'm watching the rise, and I wouldn't say I'm shocked, because I'm hardly surprised. This one's for the ride. This one's for who knew I'd make it, just needed some time. This one's for my wife.